Hi everyone, welcome to the class. In this session, we are discussing about object-oriented program, the continuation part. Let us discuss OOP, object-oriented programming. So, object-oriented programming contains objects. It is designed by using a class. Let us draw one diagram. So object oriented programming OOP contains objects. OOP contains objects. Objects. Okay. So object is designed by using a class. Object is designed by using a class. Many objects of the same type. Individual objects are created by instances. So individual classes created by instances. See, I am drawing like this. Individual objects are created by instances. So here this is instant 1. This is instant 1. Instant 1, instant 2 and instant 3. Okay. So object oriented programming contains objects. These are the objects. Object is designed. This will be designed using class. A class can have many instances. We have grouping objects with same type. Let us take one example. I am taking bike. Car also you can take car. Car is an object. Okay. We have various cars. Car 1, we have created car 1, car 2, car 3. These are the various instances. Car 3. These all instances are created using class that will be with the help of an object. So these are the individual objects. We can say it is an individual object. These individual objects are created with the help of this object. Individual objects are created with the help of what? Class. Class means these are the way of grouping objects. We can say way of grouping objects of similar characteristics. Car type only, right? Here car type only. Here car I am taking car 1, car 2, car 3. This is a car type only. So that means car type is only one single type. That's why same type. So now let us understand the definition. What do you mean by an object? Object means what? Object is a instance of a class. Instance of a class is called an object. This is a perfect definition. This class instance is called instance of an object is called class. This is the instance of this object. Core object instance is called class. Instance of this object instance, this one, so it's a class. This instance of this object instance is this one, so it is a class. Instance of a class is called an object. So what do you mean by class? Class is way of grouping objects with similar characteristics, with same characteristic, same type. Similar characteristics or same type. Similar characteristics. Class is a way of grouping objects. These are we are grouping in objects having similar characteristics. Its car is only one similar characteristic. So here you can observe object oriented programming contains objects. That means we can say it contains some behavior. It contains some behavior. And also it contains properties. It contains behavior and properties. Okay. And class contains some functions and fields. Class contains what? Class contains some functions and fields. So in C++ we are considering as a functions. In Java and all we are taking it as a methods. Functions and fields. So this is exact overview of object oriented programming. So object oriented programming is mainly will be based on objects. Objects is designed. This will be designed. These are the objects designed by using class. Class contains many objects, like way of grouping objects with similar characteristics. And object have some behavior and properties, and class have functions and fields. Fields storing properties. Here the relationship is this properties. Field store properties and function store behaviors. Field store properties and function store behavior. Okay, so this is about block diagram, we can say object oriented programming. So let us move on the meanings of all object oriented programming. Object is an instance of a class. Class is a group. What group? Objects group. With what characteristics? Similar characteristics. Car only we are taking. We are not taking bike in this. Okay, that is what similar characteristics. Object means what? Instance of a class. We are taking instances of a class is called an object. Okay, that is an object. So let us move on to our material. So we learned object oriented programming definition, what is an object, and also we can say it represents the data and associated function as single unit. Also we can say the definition, otherwise you can give the definition like this: or instance of a class, instance of a class. Simply we can write this definition. So what do you mean by a class? Class is a way of grouping objects having similar characteristics. So the term data abstraction. So data abstraction refers to the representation of essential features of an object. So now tell me, I am taking one example. So bike. Bike has some essential features, right? So what type of features it has? It has like mileage 100 kilometers per hour, 100 kilometers per liter, otherwise 50 kilometers per liter mileage will come per liter. That is a characteristic of this bike. And also, so what characteristics it has? It has gear system, and it can run with petrol. It transports, we can travel from one place to another place. Traveling can be easier. So these are the various characteristics of this bike, right? So abstraction refers to the representation of essential features of an object. So bike is an object. It has some essential features that it will represented using data abstraction. So abstraction class defines an interface. Interface means like a wall. It represents like a wall, but does not provide any implementation details. Just it will give as an overview, but it will not provide any implementation details. That means implementation details means how we are going to implement it, how we are to establish it. That and all it will not be given. So a classes use concept of abstraction and are defined in list of abstract attributes such as size, weight, that means the size of a bike, weight of the bike, and constant functions operate on these attributes. So I'm taking this example as a function. This will be operated on these aspects. This is about data abstraction. So what do you mean by data encapsulation? It combines data and associated functions as a single unit. It will prevent direct access to the data. Suppose let us take we come across with bike, right? So bike is an object. So this bike an object. Inside engine we cannot see how the function it works, how it will work, and what operator it operates inside it. That and all we no need. So that means the final object bike is allows us to travel from one place to another place. So it will prevent direct access to the data. So how machine works, how the technology is implemented in this, that and all it will be hidden. It will not giving access to us. So that is what data encapsulation. That the most important is it will prevent direct access to the data. Suppose another example. I am taking another example. One software application. Bank ATM you can take very simple example ATM. So ATM machine, you are going to withdraw money. So what it will do first, if you insert a card, what happens, it gives one message like enter pin. So pin is what, it is a security. So you cannot access the cash without entering of this pin. If you enter this pin, you can access it. That means it will prevent direct access to data. This means it will give security to us. It will provide some authentications to enter into the particular responsibility. So it enables data hiding or information hiding. So data hiding or information hiding, why it is required data hiding? Suppose if you insert your details only, it will be visible. Other persons your data cannot be seen because you are giving your number, pin number. So there is data hiding. Other persons cannot view your data. So in ATM center you are visiting. While visiting, you are inserting your card only. While inserting your details only, it will be displayed. Other data it will not be displayed, right? So other data it is not displayed, which is nothing but data hiding, information hiding. So this will be a very important role in object-oriented programming. This will be taken care by this object-oriented programming feature characteristic data encapsulation. So what is mean by function overloading? Function overloading means two or more functions have same name but differ in the number of arguments. If the number of arguments are equal, differ in the type of arguments. So let us take, I am taking f1. This is function 1. Function 1 having arguments int a comma int b. Let us take int a comma int b. I am taking f2 function, f1 function only, int a, int b, int c I am taking. So in this example, did you observe anything is common? F1 is common, right? So that means this is a function. This is a function. So this function, two or more functions, two functions are there. Two functions having same name. So here this is what order this is what arguments part. So two or more functions having same name but differ in the number of arguments. Two arguments, here three arguments. 1, 2 arguments. 1, 2, 3, three arguments. Differ in the number of arguments. If the number of arguments are equal, suppose if the both are equal, differ in the type of argument. Differ in the type of argument means instead of taking int, you have to take float. Other data type you have to take. So when it will be applicable? When if the type of arguments are equal, differ in the number of arguments are equal, differ in the type of arguments. This is what base class. Sorry, this is for function overloading. Function overloading means two or more functions having same name but differ in the number of arguments of data type arguments. Therefore, it is that function name is overloaded. We can say f1 is overloaded. We are saying it as f1 is overloaded. So define polymorphism. So poly means what? Many. Morphism, forms. Here the meaning is there. So here poly means many and morphism means forms. Many forms. That means it is like function overloading only. It an ability of an operator and a function to take multiple forms. Suppose I am doing, and take one example, add operation. Add operation, this is int a comma b I am taking. Again same add a comma b comma c I am taking. So in this, what did you observe in this? So it is an operator. Add is an operator or function, you can say a function, to take multiple forms. What form? This is addition of two numbers. This is the activity this function will do. This function what it will do? Addition of three numbers, activity it will do. So many forms, right? Ability, this operator ability is to take many forms, right? This form is addition of two numbers. This form is addition of three numbers. So ability of an operator or a function to take multiple forms. We can say two forms here. We can say multiple forms. So that is what polymorphism. So that is polymorphism. What is inheritance? It is a process of which objects of one class acquires the properties of other objects, properties of objects of another class. So let us take one simple example. Very simple example. I am taking one pen. Pen have some characteristics. So what characteristics? Smooth writing, and also ink consumption will be very less, and more faster of most brightness. These are the characteristics of this pen. So in this characteristics I am adopting to another pen which does not have any characteristics. Let us assume this is pen 3. The name of the pen is pen 3. So this characteristics I am adopting to this pen 3. So that will be inheriting this property to this. Simple example I am taking one example. Let us take one human. This human is a human. He is having the characteristics listening the class. Listening is the characteristics of him, and doing hard work and respecting elders these are the characteristics. Respecting elders and me, these are the characteristics. I want to adapt this all characteristics to another person. This person does not contain these characteristics, so I am going to adopt these characteristics to this person with the inheritance concept. The process of which objects of one class acquires these properties of objects of another class is called inheritance. In inheritance, two types of classes are there: base class and derived class. It is a class whose properties are inherited by another class is called base class. It is a class that inherits properties from one base class. It is also called a subclass. Suppose first human, the second human. The first human is base class, second human is derived class. We are deriving this class from this base class. That means this property is base class, we are inheriting to the derived class. Okay, no? That is what derived class and base class. How are base class derived class related? The derived class shares some of the properties of the base class. Therefore, code from a base class can be reused by derived class. In addition to this, the derived class may combine features from two different base classes. So that's why how we are distinguishing the base class and derived class. Okay. So data hiding, all of you know that it is a mechanism where the details of the class are hidden from the user. That means the user cannot access the particular details of the person. Suppose you are visiting ATM, you are not accessing your other friend's data because it will be hidden. That friend only can access their data. So that is what data hiding. Binding means what? Binding is a process of connecting one program to another program. Let us take, I am taking one example. Here one SIM company is there. This SIM company is Airtel. Let us take Airtel. Okay. Another one Jio. This is Jio. So this company can be compatible with what? This is the mobile. This Airtel can be placed into this mobile, also we can place into Geo, correct? So here what we are connecting one program, this mobile program, mobile mobile can be connected to this sim, correct? This is what binding. So dynamic binding means what? So you can remove this one, this Airtel sim, and you can place Geo sim. It will work. Otherwise, you can remove this Geo sim, you can place Airtel. Will it work? Yes, it will work. That is what dynamic binding. Dynamic binding means code associated with the procedure call is known only at the program execution routine. So the program execution, if it is runs, this Airtel network will work. Program execution, program call, this Geo, if it is there, this process will work. That is what dynamic binding. So these are the various features of object oriented programming. You can say characteristics. This is the most important question asked in the examination. How they will ask? Explain the characteristics of OOP, object oriented programming, or OOP. So what you can say? Class, object, data, encapsulation, data abstraction, and polymorphism, function overloading, and message passing, finally dynamic binding. So these are the characteristics of a OOP. So what do you mean by a class? Class is a way of grouping objects of the similar characteristics. Object is an instance of a class. So data encapsulation, data abstraction, we discussed it. Polymorphism, so we have discussed it. Function overloading, two or more functions having the same name, differ in the number of arguments. If the number of arguments are equal, differ in the type of arguments, is a function overloading. Messaging, passing the message between the devices, we can say message passing. Dynamic binding, like binding means connecting one program to another program. Dynamic binding means code associated with procedural call is known only at the program execution routine. So sending messages to an object is called message passing. Sending messages to an object is called message passing. So these are various characteristics. If I ask question, they may ask you in the examination. Be prepare well. This will be very useful in main examination. During this pandemic, so there may be a chance of reducing syllabus. So and also you may expect many marks from this as per the PU board. If all chapters are included, they will be allotted as 7 marks. So during in this pandemic, we can expect 10 marks from this chapter. Okay, so remaining concepts are we will be discussing by tomorrow. Please watch tomorrow. Please attend tomorrow's session. Thank you everyone.